I would say that we are on a very positive path at the moment, but equally, those who've benefited from the last 7 years or 8 years in terms of corruption and state capture and extracting probably hundreds of billions of rands from state institutions are not sitting back. They're not saying, you can come, you can repair the institutions that we've damaged, we'll just walk away. Instead, what they're saying is that we're not going to give up, we're going to fight you, whatever it takes to actually fight you, and make sure that you actually don't succeed so that we can continue with the capture process. So what are some of the things that we can do practically? Firstly, those of us that are still active in the economy in one form or another, or have influence, try to make the economy as inclusive as possible. Give opportunities to black entrepreneurs and young entrepreneurs in particular. Use your skills and your wisdom that you've gained over the years and share it with them and nurture them and mentor them so that in 5 or 10 years' time, our economy looks very different, far more inclusive, lots more people, South Africans have assets in their hands. They're not just income poor at the moment, but they're also asset poor. They've got nothing to have as collateral in their hands. For us, it's normal to have some kind of collateral when we're going to our banking friends, some of whom might actually be here. But we want an economy that's also competitive, because Africa is rising in a different sense. There's a lot more competitiveness emerging in Ethiopia or Kenya or other parts of the continent, let alone the rest of the world. So we've got to ask, how do we use the comparative advantages that we actually have in a very different kind of way so that we create the right kind of competitiveness and probably in a whole new set of industries and economic sectors as well. Secondly, enter into partnerships or encourage partnerships between government, business, and civil society so that our resources can be pooled in a way in which we build South Africa to the kind of future that I'm talking about. Thirdly, and very importantly, social justice matters. We've got to keep asking the question, is everybody leading a decent life? Is everybody getting a meal at the end of the day or the beginning of the day? Is there a sense of wellness in our communities that today is recognized as far more holistic measure than GDP is, as we're all learning? So our economics professors got to help us to think that one through. So how do we extend solidarity? How do we become more empathetic with those that are disadvantaged in our society? Amongst the solidarity towards the poor, the youth, the marginalized women, so that we do have a caring society that will help us to nurture the kind of future that we actually have. So many of you, if not most, all of you have been to London, where the slogan is "Mind the Gap." In South Africa, you've got to close the gap between the haves and the have-nots, and close it very quickly. And finally, I think we need a radical change in business culture in South Africa. State capture didn't happen in the ANC and didn't happen in government. You know, I'm sure all of you have done the tango. I haven't. But it takes two to tango. So business has played a key part in ensuring that this extraction process has worked. Multinationals have played a key part. SAP, T-Systems, international auditing firms like KPMG, consulting firms like McKinsey and Bain. And we still don't have full disclosure in terms of what were they really up to. How did they get these multi-billion rand contracts in the state-owned entities? So there's a lot of work to do, and I think if the universities and business leaders and people like yourselves begin to drive a new sense of ethics and integrity, a new set of behaviors where bribes and corruption don't have to be the center of our business culture, we could also, in 10 years' time, have a very different kind of society. So in sum, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving into an era of hope, but hope doesn't live on its own. It also brings a little bit of cloudy weather with it. We've got to survive that cloudy weather, have the kind of resilience that we've demonstrated over many years as South Africans, and use that resilience to build a truly democratic, non-racial, non-sexist future for all 60 million South Africans. Thank you very much.